Hi everyone, this is Mr. Peets. I'm going to show you how to do some of those principles of the design drawings that I showed you the other day. How to do this using this program, Google Drawings. So the way this works is we're going to start off by putting the emphasis. Remember what we talked about with the emphasis? That's what the image is going to be about. For those of you that didn't join my Google Meet session, what we talked about was that the emphasis is the icon, what the image is all about. And if you saw the images on my bulletin board in school, if you can remember, it was like that big icon that they included. Usually, it was either in the center of the image or slightly off center. And I'm going to show you how to do that on here. So the first thing we're going to do is you'll notice that there's this sort of like grayish grid on here. It's like these little gray and white little blocks, like a checkerboard here. You can kind of see it. And that is an indication that this is a transparent background. Okay, so we want to put a white background on this. You can actually later on change the color of the background if you want to, but for now, let's start off with just a white background. If you're using a mouse, right click over the page and then this box will pop up. Okay, go over to background and then drag over, and then you want to click this little white circle. And then boom, the entire background is white. If you aren't using if you're using like a regular laptop, you can hit Control and then you can left click, and that box will also pop up. That works on Macs, and it also works on if you're using Windows. So just wanted to make sure that you had those options to be able to do that. But again, that box has to pop up, go to background, and then go over to white. So now we have a nice white background. Now I want to start off with the emphasis. All right. So in order to include the emphasis, we can actually take something from the internet. So let's go to Insert Image. It's this little mountainous picture here. So we'll click that, and then we'll go over to Search the Web. Okay, if you did something on your computer, if you have like a little picture that you drew and you want to put it on here, you can. But if you want to just kind of keep it simple, go to Search the Web, and then this sort of pops up on the side, and here's like a Google Images. And this will tell you that, I mean, these images that you use on this site, it says only select the images that have confirmed that you have the license to use. In other words, the images that will pop up here will be images that are not copyrighted. That's why if you see some of these images, it might seem like very limited. You can always open another tab and you can go to Google Images and find something else. This way, I'm just showing this to you just to kind of practice. All right, so let's say I want to do the Nike symbol. So I'll type in Nike logo, and I think I don't know. I think I'm just going to stick with this swoosh right here. And so I clicked it, a little check mark, and then on the bottom here it says insert. So I will do that. And there it is. Okay. Now I don't want it to be this large. It's a little too big. I guess I could work with it, but I want it a little bit smaller. So in order to change the size of it, go over to this corner. It doesn't matter if one of these four corners. All right, I'll do this one. And then hold down the shift key and then click and drag. The reason you want to do that is it keeps it the same proportions. If you were to not hold the shift, it might make it like stretched or make it like, stretched up or down. So you want to kind of keep it proportionate. And then once you click off of it, there it is. There's the image. And then I can click this and I could move this around wherever I want to put it. If you want it centered, you can. You'll notice that these little red lines pop up, okay, as you move it slightly. And then if you move it down, you'll see the other red line pop up. If you see both of them, that means that your image is perfectly centered. So mine is not, so I'm going to, there you go, now that's perfectly centered. If you want to do that perfectly centered, if you want to be somebody who uses the rule of thirds, if you remember what that is, you can have it slightly off center and up. All right, so just for the sake of learning this, I'm going to have this be perfectly centered. Okay. All right, now I have my icon. That's done. Now we're going to work on some of those movement lines. So I'll click the line tool over here. All right, if you click this little arrow, you'll see there's lots of options, but I'm just going to stick with just the regular line tool. And then I'm going to click, I'll start off at the size, I don't know, I'll go over here. I'll click and drag. And then I'll end, let's say, like right here. And then I'll draw another line like this. And then I'll draw another line like this. And another line like this. All right, so now what's good about this is these lines act as a means of, hey, look in this direction. This is my emphasis. I want you to look over there. So remember, movement is a visual pathway for your eye to follow. We also have these different separated shapes that are around the icon that we can work with. So we did movement. I click the arrow and then I click off. Nothing's highlighted, and so far I have something that looks like this. Okay, now I want to do some rhythmic lines and patterns. There's a couple of ways to do this. If you wanted to do like just various shapes, you can actually click this little button here, it says shape. Click that, go to shapes, you can arrows, call outs, all these things. These are just symbols that you can choose from. Basic shapes, all these sorts of things. And then you can use this to create a variety of different rhythmic lines and patterns. All right, and every time you want to create a shape, you have to go over to the shape tool. But the other thing you could do is you can highlight it, hit on a Mac. I have a Mac, so I would hit Command C and then Command V, and then another one pops up. If you're using Windows, you have to hit Control C and Control V. Since I already have it, I can hit Command V again, again, and then I have all these copies of the same circle. And what's cool, I could just kind of move them around and kind of place them wherever I want. But this really, it seems so simple, but I just want you to have like some kind of practice to, just to kind of mess around with these. You can also like click one of the circles and you can change the shape, the size, and all that kind of stuff. If you want to make it more of an oval, you can do that, and then make it more rhythmic and stuff like that. You can also, after it's highlighted, you see this little antenna here, you can grab that and you can rotate it so that they're not all just going in the same direction. And that's really important too. So yeah, and then you can play around with different shapes over here. Now, let's say I wanted to do some stripes here. I can go over to the line tool, but instead of using just a plain line, I'm going to use this thing called the polyline, and I want you to practice using this. So the polyline is where you click, starts a point, and then you click again, click again, click again, and then you'll see right at the end here, it kind of snaps right at the end like a magnet. And then once it snaps, click, and then you've just created a shape. And then you can do that again. And I'm just clicking every corner and then again wait for the little snap and then click. So then I'm actually making my own sort of stripes for this image. All right. And then you could do something over here with different shapes. You can do something with arrows, maybe as another good sense of movement. You can draw an arrow. Of course, it's going in this direction, but you can always rotate it so you can have that arrow going in the direction that you want it to go in. All right. And the same thing for all of these. Now, if you want, you're going to fill in all these other spaces and such with whatever you want to. But again, I just want you to practice the shapes tool, the regular line tool, and the polyline tool. Those are the real main things I want you to focus on. And of course, how to insert an image. As long as you keep this school appropriate, I will accept this as a very small mini project. I would say have at least 4 of these lines. All right, don't give yourself 7 or 8 lines. That's way too much. This assignment really is just to practice. So go ahead and fill in the rest of these the way that you want to. And then after you go ahead and make all those shapes, you can actually modify the actual shapes themselves. So if I were to click using the arrow tool, if I were to click on a shape, there's these two things right here. There's fill color and there's border color. If I go to fill color, let's say I want to make it this like purple, it'll actually color in the entire shape purple. But the border color, if I were to change that to, I don't know, let's say blue, then if I click off of it, the actual little thin line around it is blue. That's the border of it. But the fill is the inside of the shape. So you can do that to different things. If you want to do multiple shapes, let's say I click one of them, I hold shift, click, click, you know what, I'll choose that one, I'll choose that one. So I only highlighted those, but you have to hold down the shift key and then click the shapes that you want. And then again, you can change the actual fill color. And you know what, I'm going to get rid of it, of the border. So I'm going to click transparent, and that actually gets rid of, there is no line that goes around it. And just the shapes that I highlighted, those are the ones that had the color change. Again, you could do that to all of the different shapes that you add to it. You can't do it to this image though. This image is an actual like already finished image. You can only modify the images that you drew. So that's really important. All right, so play around with different shapes, and then I want you to have an emphasis. I want you to have those lines of movement, and I want you to play with different shapes. Okay, definitely play with that polyline, and then play around with modifying. All right, and then as soon as you're done, go ahead and turn it in. All right, if you guys have any questions, please ask me, and I will see you later. Bye.